you've gotta come check this place out. Honestly, the Spiral Jetty is just an excuse to drive here. The Great Salt Lake and all the really weird things that happen next to it is the real attraction. This place is just weird. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my post-production voice. I could barely hear my own voice over the sound of these winds when I was out there filming, so I've turned down the sound of the clip and I'll be narrating over it for the first half of the video. But don't worry, I'll be back to my live commentary for the second half. If you haven't recognized it already, that's the Spiral Jetty down there. It's a pretty big piece of artwork made of earth and sand and rock on the edge of the Great Salt Lake in the middle of absolute nowhere, Utah, and it looks just wild out here. The jetty itself is actually super cool, but what's crazier is this landscape. It looks pretty normal from here. You've got a lake, you've got some waves, some white water out there, a beach, right? But actually no. So the water is red, and that's not white water, that is foam on top of the lake. And then the beach is white because it's made of salt, not sand. The rocks that make up this hill slope and are also used in the construction of the Spiral Jetty are also really interesting, to me at least. They are basalts, those are volcanic lava flow rocks, which is pretty neat and pretty self-explanatory. Lava flows. But the best part about this place is definitely the craziness that is the Great Salt Lake. So let's take a closer look at that. I'm actually walking out onto the Spiral Jetty right now. You can see it really is just sand and some rocks thrown together, but it looks really cool from a distance. And it's actually completely above the water right now because the elevation of the Great Salt Lake changes greatly from season to season and year to year. Now we're in the middle of the Spiral Jetty here, and you can see it's basically all rock and sand. Nothing too exciting, but things start to get real weird when we get close to the shoreline of the Great Salt Lake, so we're going to head over in that direction. So you can already see some of these salt puddles forming here. Some still have some water in them, some are just salt crusts that are dried up by now, but things are about to get a lot weirder when we get close to the water. Oh hey, look at this jacket. It's basically completely solid from the salt crustaceans on it. Huh. Oh yeah, check out this salt crust. This looks so weird out here. It's just like an alien world. You can see right here somebody actually dug a little pool here, and it's already filling in with water and then salt crystals just growing in that pool as soon as it was formed. So at this point I'm actually pretty concerned that the salt crust I'm walking on is just a solid layer covering up quicksand or mud and I'm just going to fall in at any moment, but it's actually really solid out here and I didn't have any issues with that. This is where it starts to get real weird. Check that out. That is all just fluff coming off the lake. Oh my gosh. Like, what is this? What is this place? It looks like an alien planet. You can see the little, like, balls of fluff just blowing along. There's the puddles. There's fields of this fluff just undulating in the wind. And this is basically all you can see for as far as the eye can see. Which in retrospect I realize is as far as I can see, so that was definitely redundant. What you can't see is how incredibly cold it is out here. It's probably close to freezing anyway, but the wind chill is absolutely horrific. I actually had to stop filming for a minute because my hands were red and numb and could barely move, but just look at this. This is crazy. It's like I was just teleported into a world where the ground is made of whipped cream. Squish, 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 squish. Oh, that's getting deep. I don't know if it's because my hand is just frozen at this point or what, but this stuff doesn't feel like anything. The foam, it's like it doesn't exist. You can't feel it in your hand. Welcome to the edge of the Great Salt Lake, everyone. And yeah, that water is red. It actually looks way more red in person. It's kind of hard to catch on camera. And there is just so much of this foam out here, just fields of it, and it's surprisingly solid for being almost non-existent fluff. Maybe it's more like whipped egg whites. I haven't seen a place that looks this much like the ocean in a long time. Probably since the last time I went to the ocean. You've gotta come check this place out. Honestly, the Spiral Jetty is just an excuse to drive here. The Great Salt Lake and all the really weird things that happen next to it is the real attraction. This place is just weird.
Well, we're back in the car now. Wow, that was cold. Windy. That was so windy. Holy. So in retrospect, it might be better to visit the Spiral Jetty in like the spring, the fall, maybe the summertime. It is cold in the winter and windy. I think the wind was the worst part of it. It was so windy. I didn't need a coat, but my hands were absolutely freezing out there. I don't know if you can see how red they still are, but damn. All right, next up, we're going to head off to Antelope Island and hike Frary Peak. I'm excited to see how that looks like in the winter.
Despite this channel's name, I do actually own a car. We all have our sins that we'll answer for. But it was too cold, and I did not have enough time to do bike touring this weekend. So enjoy some beautiful views of the landscape while I make my way across vast distances without getting any exercise like a proper American.
Look at that. The magnitude of the landscapes out west just amazes me.
Hey, look at that. More driving. Safety tip, do not do this at home. And if you do this at home, do it going 25 miles an hour in a place where there's absolutely no traffic.
Alright, this is Antelope Island, and the trailhead for Frary Peak is actually pretty busy. So we're just going to get up there. Wow, I expected there to be some snow, any snow up here in mid-November, but you can barely tell it's winter at all, except that it's actually freezing up here. And by actually freezing, I mean literally freezing, as in metaphorically freezing, because, as you can see, there's no snow up here. Is this what the Scottish Highlands feel like? Just barren, cold, windy, no trees. There we are. Give you an idea of how cold it is. That is a shattered puddle of ice. Antelope Island is a hell of a place. Fun fact, Antelope Island may or may not have antelope on it, but it definitely has a herd of bison on it. Not sure why it's not called Bison Island. Hey look, it's a tree. I'll bet there's no more than 50 people in this entire field of view, all the way to that snow-capped mountain range right over there. There can't be anybody out here. Right over here, on the other hand, that's probably about 250 to half a million people. Salt Lake is so vast, but so shallow. It's almost like a giant puddle.
Hey, it's me, the narrator voice again. I don't know what this tower's for. It's some kind of a radio tower, but definitely not a commercial radio tower.
Stopped filming there for a while because my hands got so cold from the wind I couldn't even hold the camera. But I wanted snow, but I got ice on a trail with a pretty steep drop off. Yikes. Ah. The view like this, you'd almost think we're in a desert by the ocean. But we're actually in a very cold desert by a salty lake full of basically nothing alive. I love hiking in sneakers. I don't really hike in anything else. Sneakers just feel so easy. Makes sense. But this is definitely one of those times where sneakers aren't the ideal shoe for the trail. The contrasts out west are incredible. Over here we have hardly a human soul. There's basically nobody out here except maybe a few like mining operations and some railroad workers. But we get over here in this valley, there's a million or more people. Probably more than a third of the state's population over here. Back to the other side of the mountain, nobody. Back east you can expect people to live everywhere. Anywhere there's land, there's going to be somebody farming it, or just otherwise living there. Of course there's cities, real dense, and the countryside's not, but there's people everywhere. Out west, outside the cities, there's a lot of land that's just useless. There's nobody there. No lake houses, hardly any ranch land. What are the cows going to eat? Salt? Here we are at the top Frary Peak, Antelope Island. Here we've got the USGS survey marker stone from 1892. I would not have wanted to be the person, or probably the donkey, let's be honest, to carry that up here. And then somewhere around here I saw the USGS actual survey marker. So I'm going to cut to where I find that. Oh, hey, look. A geocaching box. Oh, right. Here's the USGS survey marker. Let's see if you can see that. Right there. And that is a hell of a view. Welcome to Utah. So legend has it, an explorer that reached the Great Salt Lake pretty early on actually saw it and thought that he'd reached the Pacific Ocean. And while you can kind of see all the mountain ranges off in the distance on the other side of the lake from all the way up here, I really don't blame the guy. This lake is huge and very salty. Too salty. There's something so peaceful about being up here, all alone, looking down at this valley full of hundreds of thousands of people going about their daily lives. But it's also fucking cold up here, and I'm hungry. So it's time to go back to the sweet, sweet embrace of civilization. And that's it for today, folks. Until next time.